Hello, my name is Erin Austin, and I am a teacher, an author, and a board member for the Abundant Yoga community. The AYC is a Western Wisconsin nonprofit whose mission is to reach people who might have limited access to commercial yoga studios due to financial or geographic constraints. And I'm here today so excited to interview Chantal Doriott, owner and founder of Mindful Way Coaching. Chantal is a certified mindfulness meditation teacher, and she teaches group meditation classes at a variety of locations, as well as doing individual coaching. So, without further ado, Chantal, tell us a little bit about who you are and what your background is.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you so much. My name is Chantal, and first of all, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a grandmother. I'm loving this time of life. And I'm a meditation teacher. I teach guided meditation. This work was not my original career. I started out my career 30 plus years ago in an elementary classroom where I worked for 10 years, and I moved into local government where I did a lot of work with elections and other different higher end organizational things in local government at a city level. And it was during, I want to say maybe 8 years ago, and I was going through a lot of different life changes. Newly married for the second time. I had 3 daughters. They were all off on their own, doing their own thing and succeeding in life. I have a mother who's aging, and her care is going to rely upon her kids. I have brothers and sisters as well. I had to move to a new city, a new state, and just all kinds of changes where I just started all of these changes. While they're exciting in their own, it's change, right? And so it impacts us. And I started looking for ways to deal with just kind of stress. All of a sudden I had a commute to work. And so I did a half-day mindfulness meditation retreat at the U of M, University of Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And that class literally changed my life, because that class, I saw some benefits. The very first time that I ever took the class, I saw things in it that made sense to me. I took little tidbits and kind of made them my own in my own personal life. At the time, there were 4 different instructors. I took the same class by all 4 different teachers, because you can always learn somebody from a new teacher. And blah, 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 over the next 2 years, I would end up taking a couple of different MBSR classes, which are 8 weeks in length.
Can you tell us what is MBS?
Yeah, so mindfulness-based stress reduction.
Okay.
John Kabat-Zinn, he trademarked, and so trademarked MBSR. And MBSR is mindfulness, right? Based stress reduction. And it's used in hospitals worldwide. And this is the modality that top level places like Mayo and all different kinds of health institutions around the world and schools use the models based deep in this. To get certified in MBSR, it requires quite a bit of time and commitment to yourself. And me being in the later stages of my career, and maybe even looking at retiring soon, that was not a very good fit for me at that particular time. So I was lucky and able to find a really highly accredited program where I did most of my work online. And then the YMCA North here in Hudson, Wisconsin, where I live, they allowed me to do my internship there. So for 8 weeks, I practiced basically so that I could get my certification. So that's kind of how I came to be in this work now. it just kind of happened. It,
Well,
it
I think, what I heard from you is that you were at a time where a lot was going on. There were a lot of changes, and you took a mindfulness class and noticed results right away. And in so many things in the health and wellness field, I hear that story over and over.
mhm.
I was a yoga instructor for many, many years before becoming an Abundant Yoga Community board member. And that tale is so common with yoga, with meditation, with massage, different areas of body
Yeah.
work. And so
Yes.
I think your story is common and
Yeah,
exciting.
it's kind of funny, when I look back, even I mean, I can remember my mom doing different little yoga poses, and she never really taught us kids. She
Mhm.
was doing it for herself, and we just kind of mimicked and whatever. Today, you younger parents are teaching your children these different modalities. And there's a series of books when my children were little by Maureen Garth, and very visual, kind of illustrated in mind and meditative. And those are the books that I read to my children. And so some of the work I even do today, um, I go back to that beginning years and years, 30
Yeah,
years ago, of these things I was doing with my kids that I really, at that time, we weren't knowing the benefits that we are today.
sure. Not as widely studied.
Right. Right. And
No
to be fair,
Western way of studying.
yeah, like my mom would say to 6 kids, okay, everybody, shh, I'm going to go meditate now for 15 minutes. And I think we would all be quiet while my mom went and meditated for 15 minutes. We had no idea what it meant, or even, we didn't even care. We were 5 or whatever. But I ask her now, like, why didn't you teach us how to meditate? It wasn't widely accepted. And she was kind of afraid, frankly, what will the neighbors think? Today, you would
Yeah.
like embrace that. And
Well, and
the
even
neighbors would go, wow,
or
Yeah.
something as simple as now with small children, it's really common parenting and in preschools when kids are upset to just tell them to breathe and take big
Yes.
breaths with them and let it
Yes.
go with them and teaching them the power of breath that way.
Yes.
So that, oh, go ahead.
No, no, no. I'm sorry. Every meditation I begin with some breath awareness, breath
Great.
practice. And what was I going to say? Um, Breathing. Oh, like I just think to myself, right now I'm doing a lot of work with just allowing and flowing. And when I feel sad, letting myself feel sad. And when I'm in those states of higher joy, like just being like a giddy little kid about it. And I'm really trying to experience emotion in a little more exaggerated way for myself. And I'm starting to use some of that in my coaching. And the breath, coming back to, like, think of as a little born baby, you're like, shh, shh. We're always trying to stifle the breath and the
Mm,
cry and the release of emotion. And these are learned behaviors and traits. And today I think we're seeing that possibly there could be some other ways. I'm not going to say it's right or wrong. But today, like, my grandkids cry and I'm like, keep crying. Like, let me rub your back, let those tears
let it
flow.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, it just, when you can release all that emotion and all that pent up, whatever it is,
Mm.
you just create extra space for that joy and all the other things that we really want to be
That's
bringing in.
that's wonderful. And
Yeah.
creating extra space, that's I think for somebody who's starting, that could be like, what does that mean? So let's go back to something that's really, really simple. What are just basic benefits of meditation? And more specifically, what do you notice with yourself? Because what you notice might not be what someone else notices that you're teaching or coaching. So, what are some common, really tangible things?
I'll tell you, one of the very first things that I really noticed and I make a big deal about in my work is focusing on the five senses. So
Okay.
sight, smell, taste, hearing, touch. I'm a big proponent that when we can cultivate the gift of our senses, we actually tune into the gift of our intuition, which I think is a true given gift that we're born with, but we just never practice using it. So when you can get good at really seeing clearly, I spent some time today just literally looking out a window, and I live in the Midwest. There's big tufts of snow on the trees. We're getting a storm coming in. So I'm just literally in the warmth of my own house, looking outside, and I have literally, with my senses, immersed myself into the visual that I behold out my window. I can almost feel these big tufts of snow falling down on me and the wind kind of whipping around. And I'm very aware that while the cold maybe doesn't have a smell, oh, it kind of does have a smell, and just
Very
all
crisp.
different. Yeah. And just so I am one of these people that will meander through the woods on a little nature walk, and I'll be looking at rocks and right down on the ground with my grandkids, looking at some leaves on a flower or whatever, instead of racing ahead to see who can get to the end of the path, which there's nothing wrong with that. But slowing down and just taking in everything around me is probably one of the first things that I really ever noticed that I was slowing down. And this is what just being is all about. It's allowing yourself to just be in a conversation one-on-one with somebody and not be having to be worried about noises in the background, or you know what I mean, or your attention getting diverted. You literally are present in this moment. One of the things too that I did in the very beginning of all this, and I do it sometimes even now, is I would say to myself, pretend you're washing dishes. That can be a very mindful practice. Sudsing the dish, like when you're washing them by hand, sudsing, and just feeling the water, the soap, different things like that. Putting lotion on your body, on your skin, different things. Like, you can really make so many different practices that we hurry through. You can make them a little more pleasurable, and you can bring a little bit more awareness and presence to those activities. And it doesn't have to take a long time. It doesn't have to take a long time to put, lotion on your body in a loving, kind way. Like, literally, you're connecting with yourself.
So I'm hearing awareness, slowing down, and kind of heightened senses over time. What about some physiological benefits to mindfulness meditation?
Oh, for sure. So, your everything slows down in the body. So the brain works a little bit slower. There's an opportunity for clarity to just kind of bloom a little bit. Your breathing slows down. So think about this all day long. This is what often kind of like what we're like, you know what I mean? Go, 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 do, run.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, if you can actually just meander, you can just be, you can just breathe, you can almost feel and see in your own mind's eye how beneficial this could be for you. The breathing slows, your organs have time to react properly, right? They learn how to sync with each other in a little more harmonious way because you're not efforting.
That sounds relaxing to think about.
It is.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And I think there's easy ways to explain the benefits of mindfulness and meditation and just slowing down when you can do something like this, where you can show a visual of somebody running and just think of all that's going through your mind and all your senses, how they're, being pummeled. And then rather you're just sitting back on one of those swings on your porch, you're just enjoying a breeze. Like you can just truly imagine that that's healthful,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. So you've been experiencing these things yourself for many years now. You've been teaching it. You've been taking various pieces of education regarding mindfulness-based meditation. And then you eventually created Mindful Way Coaching, a meditation-based business.
I
So
did.
how did that come about?
So I'll tell you, when I did my internship at the Y, when I was done, they hired me. So I was working at the Y, and Tracy Mortensen, she hired me to work at Inspiring Actions, and I was doing some work with community ed. And in a couple of years, I was working a lot. I was partly retired and just doing this work, no commute. I like only worked in Hudson where I live. And then the pandemic happened. And so everything I'd been working on came to a halt, like it did for so many of us.
Mhm.
And I just thought, well, what am I going to do? And I had already licensed a company, Mindful Way Coaching, but I hadn't really done very much with it because I was doing so much in studio in different places. And I took a look at my company and I started to think, gosh, I think I could teach virtually. And I
Yeah.
think I could help people cultivate their own meditation practice through coaching. So my coaching is not life coaching, and I am not a certified life coach practitioner.
Mhm.
I'm a certified mindfulness meditation teacher, but I know how to help you cultivate your own meditation practice. It's an 8-week program. You can look online to find out more about it, or even just reach out to me. But so, so that's kind of how my virtual part of the work I do came to be. And within a couple of years, that took off. And now I'm in a place where I'm working at 3 different YMCAs. I'm doing my virtual work, community ed, other places. And yeah,
That's so wonderful. So
yeah,
walk us through Mindful Way Coaching a bit. Like, what are your offerings currently? Because I know that
okay.
that can change.
It can. And actually, a lot of what I do has remained pretty steadily. So I've got a really great opportunity for $20 a month. You can be a mindful member, and you can take any virtual classes for free. They're
Right.
$5 each otherwise. And then you receive discounts to coaching and what have you. And I also have a resource center of pre-recorded meditations for healthcare workers, children, teens, youth, adults. There's meditations for sleeping, for anxiety. I think there's 8 different categories, and
Okay.
these are all pre-recorded. And every now and then I add some new things. So for $20 a month, it's a really great opportunity for you to not only have access to my recordings, but also to be able to take some virtual classes, for free. Otherwise, you can take a virtual class for $5 each. They're very, I want I want a commitment from you. So there's $5, but I wanted the amount to be small enough that it could be affordable to anyone. I offer one free virtual meditation a month. Um, so there's that opportunity
And that's found right on your website.
right on my website, mindfulwaycoaching.com. And then I have group and private coaching opportunities where that is all about cultivating your own mindfulness meditation practice.
Oh, that's great. So it
Yeah.
seems like there are a lot of options for even people who don't live in the Western Wisconsin or like Minneapolis metro area, and just a lot of different opportunities and price points to make it more equitable, which I think is so important.
Mhm.
And why don't you tell us a little bit what sets you apart as a meditation instructor? Like, why should I learn from you instead of anyone else?
I love it. So everything I teach is personalized. So I take a body scan, which is a very common meditation, and I've made it my own. So in my body scans, we're going to go a little bit deeper and we're going to settle on organs. We're going to talk about joints. We're not just going to, we are going to meander our way through the body. It's a body scan, but I bring in a little more, and I do this with every single meditation. So a lot of the meditations that I teach, you will recognize the names, loving kindness and compassion, but you will learn a little bit of a different breathing technique. We'll learn how to breathe with our heart. We'll learn how to breathe and pull that heart way deep into the belly. What else? I am currently this year, and I've been working with Erin in 2022. I'm putting together a series of 4-week classes. So one of them, which I'm super excited about, is our cell level meditation. And here's what I believe. And here's another thing, and I will tell you up front all the time in my classes, what I teach you is what I know to be my personal truth. It might not be science's personal truth, or it might not be John Kabat-Zinn's teachings or whatever, but this is what I have found for myself to be true. And I really think that there's a place that we can get within our own bodies where we are just a little more aligned, a little more in sync and connected with ourselves. We are reading energies in the room and from each other. And there's health benefits in that everything is almost vibrating or buzzing a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
And viruses and disease can't settle in a higher cell vibration. That's true. That's been proven. So in this series of 4 weeks, I want to get you to a place where you can feel a little more aligned and a little more buzzing, so to speak, little higher vibration.
I really like that in talking about why come to you, you started with the fact that you're tailoring meditations to your students, but also talked about how everything that you're teaching, you do yourself and notice that there is a difference, because I think it's not uncommon for anyone in the wellness industry to get so into doing and not their own practice. So I think that's key, that you're really walking the walk.
Well, and I love that you say that, because in the very beginning, I wasn't doing that. I mean, I would lead you through a guided meditation, but yeah, I was leading you through a guided meditation. I wasn't listening to one myself. So I start all my days off. I have a couple of people that I love the sound of their voice. That's a huge, big thing. Here's another thing too. I found that people think meditating is boring. People think meditating means sitting in the quiet for hours, which it could, but mine doesn't. They think that they don't get it. And so I try and take all those taboos, which I think they are. I think they're excuses, and they could be valid excuses. It's an excuse. But I try and show you different. I try and show you that sitting in silence is anything but boring. I'm telling you right now, looking out at the tree and the snow falling down and what I saw and what I experienced inside, there was nothing boring about that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And that I think is really important, particularly when you're dealing with beginners, because it feels like meditation can be such a huge topic. And because of that, it can be a little nerve-wracking to start, particularly when there's preconceived notions. So what tips do you have for someone who is curious about meditation? Where should they start? Or even, is there a one-size-fits-all approach for starting?
I think there is. And here's what I think. Number one, here's another thing. If you don't feel comfortable sitting up straight, right? Like we'll hear a lot of teachers, don't push your back against the chair, like sit up like this, blah, 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 blah. I tell people, get comfortable. If you want to lay on your floor, lay in your bed, and your spine isn't 100% straight, but you're relaxed and you're calm,
Great.
There you go. That's your position for right now, because you're new.
Yeah.
You're a new meditator. So you want to be comfortable. So that'll be one thing. You do not have to, there's no time limits. So what I like to do is start out at maybe say 60 or 90 seconds.
Oh,
Seconds sounds tiny, and it is tiny. So it's a minute and a half. And here's what I do in my meditations too, is I'm very good at telling you, we're going to close our eyes, we're going to relax, pull, just focus in on the breath. And then I'll say for 15 minutes, or 15 seconds, we're just going to feel our breath. Maybe place your hand on your heart, just feel the heartbeat. Can't feel the heartbeat? Take a couple of breaths. You'll start to feel your heartbeat. And just giving people little small cues
mhm.
of shorter things to think about, to take, for them to take care of or to worry about. That's where they're going to start to find some success. Did that make sense?
Yes, I really like that because I think that can be applicable in so many things. Because if someone was learning to meditate and they're like, really, I don't know, 90
Yeah.
seconds. Well, you could bring up, for example, sports. If you are trying to learn how to play basketball, you probably started with dribbling.
Yeah.
Part of the game, it's part of
Yes.
the process.
Yes.
You know,
That's a good analogy.
there are examples, examples abound in
Yeah.
different realms, but it's those building blocks. So it sounds like you're really talking about starting with the fundamentals
Yes. Yes.
in
Yep.
small
And I
pieces.
incorporate the breath into every single thing that I do. There's meditations that are all about the breath, and I have different patterns of ways of breathing that I lead people into a meditation. My meditations are never more than 30 minutes. And 30
Great.
minutes might seem like a long time, but you would actually be surprised at when you are being guided in a meditation,
Mhm.
there's a lot that I can offer you verbally to keep your awareness and your attention, and your mind is going to wander. We've been practicing our whole lives to do, be, go, go, go. And so to think that all of a sudden, I mean, we give ourselves check marks and stars for having like 3 things to do on our calendar every day. You know what I mean? And so to all of a sudden think that you're just gonna zen,
Right.
it's gonna take some practice. Yeah. But
One,
you're gonna love the benefits,
yes,
you know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One meditation teacher that I have listened to really had what I thought was a great analogy. He said that your mind and learning how to meditate is a lot like training a puppy to sit.
Oh,
When you first tell the puppy to sit, it's not going to listen and it's going to walk away and run away. And that's okay. You just go,
yeah.
you pick up the puppy, you bring it
Yeah.
back to its spot, tell it to sit. And
Yeah.
over time, the puppy learns. And he explained that over time, the mind learns. But at
Yes.
first, it's like a puppy. And I thought, oh, okay, I've been there with the dog. So I get that.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, there are many a gift in your wandering mind. So where your mind takes you when you are in those quiet times of just contemplation or whatever, I've got a couple of meditations called The Wandering Mind, and there's gifts there. There's gifts there for you,
That's cool.
where your mind wanders to and why and what you can do about it. And I never resist the wandering mind. Nope. So,
Well, I think that's comforting to people who are new.
well, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all a learned practice, just like what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So can you just reiterate how can interested students find you?
Sure. So you can Google Mindful Way Coaching, three words, Mindful Way Coaching. You could also Google Meditate with Chantal. So I'm on Instagram. I'm not on Facebook. And I do have a YouTube channel, which this interview will be uploaded to. And then I'll also be recording some small 5-minute or less mindfulness tips or little short meditations that you can access for free on YouTube. And all of this should be ready to go by the beginning of the new year, 2023.
Wonderful. And that is what I was going to ask,
Okay.
if you had little freebies anywhere. So it sounds like YouTube is the place to go for freebies.
Yes, I do have a SoundCloud channel, but
Okay.
I'm going to lead everyone over to YouTube.
And what is your YouTube channel?
Mindful Way Coaching. Either
Okay.
the same thing, Mindful Way Coaching or Meditate with Chantal.
Is that the same for Instagram?
Instagram is only Meditate with Chantal right now,
Okay.
I believe. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
great. Chantal, thank you so much.
Oh,
I'm
thank
so
you.
excited about everything you had to share and about the opportunities with mindful meditation. And everybody listening, just a reminder, www.mindfulwaycoaching.com is the main website for Chantal and her work. And
Yes.
we just know that there are so many benefits to what you do, and it's exciting to hear about the process. So
It
thank you.
is. I remember way back, in the day, think of this, aerobics was huge and this was everybody's be all end all. And then those instructors were starting to get trained in yoga and different yoga practices and everything. And little by little now, mindfulness and meditation is coming into the playing. And the nice thing about these modalities, yep, you can go to a studio, you can find opportunities online. Once you learn them, you can practice them on your own.
That's
Yeah.
so wonderful.
Yeah.
That's well,
Thank you
thank you
so much.